What's going on, guys? Little double session here. Not really double session. It happened on two separate days. But this video was a little bit long for a couple of reasons. The first part of this is a lower body session that I did, very athletic session. And then the second part of this is a bench workout, working up to 100%. Not a max, not finding a new max, but working up to 100% of my training max. So doing a lot of things in this first session here. Like I said, very athletic lower body day. A lot of some transitioning happening in my training right now because truly getting into that preseason mode of you just got to be athletic. And so my training needs to reflect that. Got to train for what my goals are, right? So I'm just doing a lot of stuff to have the body be healthy and mobile and good and strong in some extreme positions. You've seen this reverse Nordic, me do this many times. And it's just a good indicator of hip health and at least the hip flexor health in my ability to get some good range of motion back. You see a little head touch on the box there, that 24-inch box. And it feels good. It feels good on the hips to be able to do that. Then I moved into some jumping stuff, just going from the knees. It's not as comfortable as I'd like it to be. Sitting on my heels is kind of tough, my right knee being kind of gummy. So I just went to the seated box jumps, and then a little double jump, I guess, a rebound jump on the top of the box. Practice landing, kind of loading into the midfoot again, and exploding back up. My Ollie shoes are not the best for this. They're kind of slick on that wooden surface, so I have to be a little cautious of not wanting to have my feet slip out from under me, as you see a couple slips there. And then this is a movement I haven't done. Last week I did the full squat jump squats. And this one, I decided to set up in the snatch blocks and not have to catch the load on my knees and really just focus on actual jumping, landing, absorbing a little bit of the load, but letting the weight land into the snatch blocks instead of into my body. That's really just aimed at keeping me healthy, keeping my knees healthy. I'm not going to say that last week's weights, I was doing like full squats with 315, landing with them on there. I'm not going to say, granted I wasn't jumping very high, that I felt bad after those. But at the same time, I know they got a pretty high risk to reward ratio. So why not just jump and land and mitigate a lot of the risk? I think those are going to be a good addition if I'm going to do the jump squats. That's the way to do it. And as much as I'm not necessarily a proponent of doing overly specific work, it can't hurt to get a classic movement like a barbell lunge into the training, especially when it looks so much like one of the throws, right? Like I'm a glider, so coming out of the back of the circle or the back of the trig mimics the lunge pattern a lot. So this definitely can't hurt. Again, lunges are not bad. Single leg work is very, very good. And lunging, I could do a little bit better job maybe of getting a little bit more hip extension on the trailing leg, but overall the real focus is pushing hard off of that front foot. And you can kind of see like I push and I over push. I don't just go right back to just a standing position. I push and then I have to kind of catch myself because I'm trying to push all the way through. See right here, push all the way through, and then my right foot has to go back as kind of a stop there. So that's the idea. Rolling through that backside of it and just developing that push out of the back of the circle. And of course I got to do both legs because I don't want to have, I don't want to have imbalances like I already do have anyway. So great movement. And then segued right into this, what do they call it? The Crouser lunge. I'm not very good at them. It was kind of hard trying to find a tempo on these things. This was my second set. Looked much better than the first set, but really just trying to get a little bit of that rotational force. And I'm kind of thinking like throwing the barbell forward with the hip that's back, if that makes any sense. That's kind of how I'm cueing, and then trying to stop that motion by planting that front foot down as it comes down, to plant it down hard. But kind of tough when you're going back and forth like that. It just, it wants to swing you and make you walk all over the place. So definitely something that I think could be beneficial. Any rotational movement really isn't a bad thing. And I didn't feel any weird tweaks in my spine. So I think that I would be fine continuing to do such a thing. And now we're into the big bench day. You'll see as I filmed a ton on this. I knew going into this, I needed to have full intention towards getting this 100% weight. So I made sure my body was good and ready, and spent a good amount of extra time warming up. And when I say warming up, I truly do mean warming up. I mean, I'm on the bike there. I'm trying to build up a sweat, trying to get actually pretty dang warm. And then as well as I am trying to get the upper body ready for the work. Working through some positions just to, get my shoulders feeling like they're ready to handle a heavy weight. Just like this kettlebell arm bar is really good for kind of setting that shoulder back, providing a decent stretch, and then also I get a little thoracic spine rotation in as well. But yeah, these things are just really designed to expose the joints and the shoulder joint to a little bit of weight, to kind of really just load them up and start getting them primed up and ready for the bench press. And of course, as I've been doing pretty much every session, these back attacks, it's really good. I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you sit down a lot, you need to be doing these throughout your day, at the beginning of your day, at the end of your day, whatever it is. I really do think they're just great back health in general, back muscle health. Here's a shoulder distraction thing that I picked up a while back, probably from like Kelly Starrett or Matt Vincent or something. But basically, yeah, I take that band and I loop it over my shoulder and anchor down with my foot to kind of keep the shoulder locked down and not, to prevent it from rising up while I'm doing this. Basically like dislocations with the shoulder. Really just doing small circles, just really feeding the shoulder a lot of blood, increasing the circulation, getting some stretching in there, equal parts circulation and desensitization of the area. If I'm having a little bit of an ache, I can kind of use the stretches to kind of kill off a little sensation, so it's not a distraction or an inhibition while I'm benching. And I like it. This little arm lock behind the thing really allowed me to stretch, and with that band holding my shoulder down, it really emphasized a lot of stretch across the front of the shoulder and even through the pec a little bit. And this little row variation I came up with on the fly, it really is probably the best I've ever been able to activate and engage the lats in a way that is best mimics the bench press. So I start by having those anchor points higher, and then so that I have to pull down almost like a pullover, and then pull back. Really focus on pulling the shoulder blades back to set them, and then rowing backwards. Like I said, great way to felt like my entire lats engaged and locked down, and then get my shoulder blades really locked down. So I'll probably do another video on those just to kind of have some talking points, some key points on those, because I really do think that's a motion that can really help anybody on the bench press to kind of get, dial in the lats and really improve the movement in whole. That did these ring push-ups, but really just like slow negatives and isometric holds. Again, really just trying to get the muscles firing, get them turned on, and desensitize them a little bit, and just basically just again, I spent almost an hour warming up for this bench press workout. I feel like hitting just about every aspect of my upper body in order to get things working, including my forearms and my hands, getting this rice bucket, just pumping that rice through my fingers just to really get my wrists and forearms ready for work. And then got right into it. Got into it on the bench press. Warm-ups don't look crazy wild. I do a lot of reps with just the barbell, and then 135 to 225, alternating between like a slow and controlled. When I'm 225 and under, it alternates between slow and controlled and just really rapid and ballistic explosive movement. And then once I get up to 275, I knock the rep range down to 3 or less. And again, I will alternate sometimes between having a real slow and controlled movement and then move into some explosive stuff. Another set at 275. Again, probably going to do a little bit of real slow tempo on the down. And then maybe even some extended pauses, again, depending on how I'm feeling. The goal is to feel good and feel ready. So take as many sets of triples as you need to, and then before you move into like your real working weights, which I think it was my working percentages were one at 92%, one at 94%, and one at 100%. So those were my 3 heavy working sets, and then I did some back off sets of 4s. So yeah, just working up to that. I don't like to skip some of the milestone weights, like 315. Didn't want to skip that going up. My first set, my one at 90 something percent was 380, and the goal was to make it move quick. Right now, at this point, it's singles at a supra maximal weight, and the idea is to treat it like it was a max. So driving and putting all my effort into it. 100% effort on a 92% weight should move pretty fast. And as you can see, pretty decent, pretty smooth. Wasn't quite as aggressive as I wanted to be, but kind of made up for it here at this rep at 395. Got pretty locked in for this one. Good rep, good speed. Had me feeling like the 405 wasn't going to be a problem at all. See here, just nice, smooth, speedy rep. And then here was the single at 405. Had to get a little jazzed up for it. This is a training max, not necessarily an all-out max, but it's enough that you want to get the heart rate up, want to get the intention up, and get that nervous system ready for work. So I do want to talk about in a different video that little. I wasn't just jumping around just because the music was good. I was that's a thing that I just heard on a podcast that I want to talk about a little bit. But there you see there, 405, real smooth, except for got a little sloppy on the reversal. Elbows got out of position, misgrooved slightly. But hey, I'll take it. 405 is probably all of 92 to 95% of what I think I'm capable of. And then we went to these back down sets of 4. I don't know what the percentage was. 3 sets of 4, between 80 and 86%, or somewhere in that neighborhood. If I'm being honest, I'm going to say that the last set of 4 was harder than any of the heavy singles. Definitely was starting to catch up with me a little bit. I think a little adrenal fatigue was starting to set in from getting a little pumped up for those heavy singles, but it's still, I was still able to get. This is the last set of 4. What is that? 360. Yeah, 360 pounds. I try not to get lackadaisical with weights, even when they're lighter than the max, even when I'm under 90%. I try to stay smooth, and I try to really put the effort into it, squeeze the bar. I will say, even though they were tough, it was a tough set. But it did go smooth, and I don't feel like I overexerted myself. Supplemental movement here was weighted dips, and I'm just using a 53-pound kettlebell, nothing crazy heavy. I really want to take it easy on the parts that are not quite handling the volume as well as other parts, right? Like my shoulders and a little bit elbows, although the elbow is, I don't know, off and on. It doesn't hurt at any point, but it does feel like it's getting stiff. And then the shoulders are just like in really deep in the front side of the shoulder. It feels like it's a little painful at the bottom of the bench and the bottom of the dips. But yeah, so that's it. I did a little bit of tricep work right after this, but I didn't film it. Bench is going great. I hope your bench is going good. It is Benchuary. And we ain't got much more off season left to get stronger. So, all right, y'all keep training strong. Later.